Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking a deep dive into the Phuket real estate market.
Yeah, Phuket. We've got some interesting articles and some awards data to look at. It's going to be fun.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot going on over there. And, I think the main thing we want to sort of try to figure out is, well, what's driving this whole market, right?
Ah,
And what's it mean really for people who are thinking about, buying there or maybe investing?
yeah, it's a hot market. Lots of people are curious about it.
It is. It is. And, to
Yeah.
kick things off, one of the things that really jumped out at me, and you know this, we were kind of looking at the data earlier, Phuket property sales have, get this, they've quadrupled recently. I mean, that's just incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely booming. It's a bit wild to see, actually.
It is wild, isn't it? So to help us unpack all of this, all this data and stuff, we've got our expert here with us. So welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to shed some light on what's going on in Phuket.
Well, fantastic. Let's just jump right into it, shall we?
Yeah, let's go. Okay, so one of the first things I saw here was a pretty big jump in airport arrivals, like a 24% jump, over 6 million people.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So the question is, are all these tourists turning into homeowners?
Right, right. Well, probably not all of them, of course, but
Sure.
that tourism boom, it's definitely fueling the demand in real estate for sure,
That makes sense.
especially in the condo market.
Oh, condos. Yeah, okay. So speaking of the condo market, we saw a like 142% rise in condo sales. Now,
Yeah.
typically, you see growth in the single digits. So 142%, that's a massive leap. Who are these buyers that are driving this kind of crazy surge?
It's actually a really diverse mix. Russians are still a big presence there, though,
Oh,
their overall share has gone down a little bit,
okay.
but we're also seeing Chinese buyers coming back strong.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then there's also growing interest from places like India and Kazakhstan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, even Germany, believe it or not. So it's really becoming a global destination.
A global mix. That's really interesting. So it seems like they're all after different things, though, right? Like,
Hmm.
what are they actually buying?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Because I saw in the data that there's a growing preference for condos under 8 million bats.
That's right.
So is that just like a temporary thing, or is this something bigger, do you think?
I think it reflects a global trend, actually. This focus on affordability.
Okay.
Even affluent buyers, they're becoming more price conscious, especially with rising interest rates and all that stuff.
Yeah, cost of living. Yeah, all that. Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
And the data supports that too, right? Like that declining interest in those pricier units, those 8 to 15 million bat units.
Yeah, I saw that. It's interesting, though, because then, we see um, the Russians going for the larger units,
Hmm. Right.
which kind of suggests that maybe they're thinking about, a different type of investment.
Yeah. It's about understanding the different like segments of the market.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So while Russians, who are like a smaller segment now, right, they're going for the bigger, maybe potentially higher yield investments.
Yeah.
Many buyers, especially those seeking holiday homes, like the Chinese buyers, they're drawn to the smaller, more, manageable properties.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense. Okay. So with all of this going on, right, this global influx, these shifting preferences, all this stuff,
Hmm.
what's the outlook for 2024? For Phuket real estate, I mean. Are we going to see, like, skyrocketing prices?
Well, the forecasts are predicting, a rise of about 10 to 15%, but
Yeah.
but it's not, a guaranteed home run or anything. That huge increase in supply that we're seeing, that might impact that growth.
Ah, yeah, the increase in supply. So remind us, what happened in 2023 to trigger that jump in sales?
Well, the developers saw the demand soaring, and they responded, as you might expect, by building more. So, for example, resort villa sales, they hit an unprecedented 400 units, which is, way above the usual average of about 100 a year.
Wow, that's a big jump.
Yeah, yeah. It's like think of it like a seesaw.
Oh,
High demand pushes prices up, but then increased supply can push them back down. So it's all about balance.
balance, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of, kind of impressive developments, we were looking at the Property Guru Awards, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like the developers in Phuket are really doing something right. For those who don't know, these awards are a pretty big deal in Asia. They really recognize excellence
They're very prestigious.
in the real estate market there.
Yeah.
So were there any like winners that stood out to you, any that really impressed you?
Well, Phuket 9 winning Best Developer, that was pretty significant, you know.
Yeah.
But also Andaman Asset Solution and Botanica Luxury Phuket, they deserve a shout out too, you know.
Yeah.
Those awards really highlight that commitment to, quality and design that's become a real hallmark of Phuket's real estate.
It sounds like it's a lot more than just a vacation paradise, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's really dynamic. It's got global players and shifting trends and, opportunities. And of course, we talked about some of the challenges too.
It is, yeah. It's a very interesting market.
It's fascinating. Yeah. So before we go, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Well, all this data, it tells a very compelling story, right? But I always say this, real estate is local.
Yeah.
So, digging deeper into specific neighborhoods, understanding the nuances of different property types,
Hmm.
that's where the real insights are.
Great advice. So for all of you listening, what really stood out to you from all of this, from our deep dive into Fouquet?
Hmm.
What questions are you thinking about? Because this is just the tip of the iceberg.
It really,
There's a whole world of information out there waiting to be explored when it comes to Phuket real estate.
absolutely. Happy exploring.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Until next time.